Tá? Não funciona.
Quando tá uma, é só quando é vídeo.
Exato.
Só quando é vídeo.
Mas agora vamos supor que tu me adicionou porque ela me chamou, tá?
Sim.
Vocês estão ouvindo eu falar? Ok, tudo certo. Muito obrigada, tudo ok? Olá, minha apresentação, eu vou falar sobre pedaços que estão faltando no ser humano. qualquer coisa do tipo. Vamos lá. Todo mundo me escuta, espero que esteja tudo bem. Apresentação, os doutores são muito queridos, são tudo muito educados, entende tudo, mentira, mas ok. Muito obrigada a todos vocês, muito obrigada pela apresentação. Ok.
Muito obrigado. Vou fazer uma garganta, né? Muito
Uhum.
obrigado pela sua participação.
Ok, tchau. Uhum.
Now, also on ultrasound, you can see pleural effusions. That's just going to be clear, dark water. It looks like if it's sort of, it looks dirty, then that could be an empyema. It could be a hemorrhagic effusion or malignant effusion. But this looks like a clear effusion, like you might see in congestive failure adjacent to the diaphragm. This is the liver right here. And this is a phenomena called hepatization of the lung. And what this comes from is from a lung consolidation. It basically turns that area of the lung into a solid organ. And now, but what are these bright things right here? There are image data banks and whatnot. There's just such great stuff out there. So dive into one thing at a time. That's all I have to say. I thank you all very much. I'm going to stop this recording right now and have a great time. Thank you very much.
Som. Estão ouvindo?
Estão escutando agora? Não? Sim. Estão ouvindo?
Enough always to. We have at the moment 4 hours with which to see, treat, process patients. But in most other settings, there is either some target in watching the trajectory of illness in any given child.
Oi, estão ouvindo? Estão escutando agora?
Tá, ela chamou, tá ali a Ju.
Oi, Carol, tá ouvindo?
E aqui, tá.
Remove a cara. Tô falando, quero compartilhar minha tela. Vou lá e vou compartilhar minha tela. Ah, e aqui sim, tu vai lá, ou tela inteira, acho que é, né? Aqui, compartilhar.
Fez a apresentação dela.
Ok, terminou.
Camila, né?
Remove a Ju.
É isso aí, né?
Ju, tu me escuta? Me escuta? Tá me ouvindo? Por que não responde?
Porque perguntou assim, família.
Não, agora não. Oi, estão ouvindo?
Not about the score telling you what to do. It's not about the score even telling you to. So thank you for your time, and I'm very happy to take questions.
Oi, estão escutando? Estão me ouvindo? E agora? Estão ouvindo? Estão ouvindo?
Hi there, my name is Dr. Damien Rowland. I'm a paediatric emergency medicine consultant and I work in Leicester. It's in the middle of England, essentially. I'm a clinician scientist, so I do half-time research and half-time clinical practice. I'm going to be talking today about scoring systems in paediatric emergency care. I don't think I've got any conflicts of interest, I suppose, other than I developed the POP score, the Pediatric Observation Priority Score, which I'll come on to talk about shortly. I'm going to start off with a little game, essentially. So here we have a number of owls. What I want you to do is spot the cat. There is a cat in there. It's not easy to find, but take a bit of time, look around, see if you can spot the cat. Eventually you will see it. Now, some of you will have seen it very quickly, and some of you will have taken a little longer. But I will break your suffering. Here we go. There is the cat in the bottom left-hand corner. And you can see that because he's got a slightly different nose. Now, the key thing about this particular test is that once you have seen the cat, it's really difficult to unsee the cat. Yeah, it's impossible not to see the cat now in amongst all the owls. And this is a particular challenge that we have in emergency care, particularly pediatric emergency care, is that the retrospectoscope, i.e. looking backwards and judging, is a really easy thing to do. But if you weren't there, if you didn't know what you couldn't see, it's actually very difficult to say in retrospect that something different should have been done. And I think the purpose of pediatric early warning scores and systems is to help clinicians have a framework with which to identify things which might be staring them in the face, but they're just not quite seeing. Now, I want to do a few particular clarifications to begin with. So I'm not talking about triage. Now, triage is a system whereby when an undifferentiated child arrives, you quickly put them into a group who need to be seen immediately, can wait a bit, or can wait a bit longer. And that's all it is. It is clearly a bit about acuity, i.e. the sickest patients need to be seen more quickly, but the purpose or the validation of triage systems is not really about the nuts and bolts of how ill a child is, the heart rate, the respiratory rate. It's just a way of, if you've got far more patients than you have doctors and nurses to see them, who do you see next? That's also different from illness identification. So if you know the patient has asthma, then you can apply an asthma severity score. But if you don't know a patient has asthma, an asthma severity score is completely useless because it's not validated to tell you how sick breathing difficulty is, it's how sick your asthmatic is. So what I'm really interested in this talk is focusing on early warning or systems which allow you to come to a decision in a way that you may not normally have done so. And I will explain why I'm far more interested in a cognitive prompt than I am actually in a decision-making aid. Now, for a long time, well over a decade, we've known that there's been a cycle or a pathway in which these
que estava corrompendo. Eu estou falando? Eu vou te mostrar o vídeo. Oi, estão ouvindo agora? Estão ouvindo? Meu Deus, me escuta. Estão me escutando? O que é isso? Não funciona agora. Oi, estão me escutando?
Hello, thank you for joining me. This talk is on ultrasound from head to toe. And it is for those of you that are beginning with ultrasound and want to look at what the breadth of the uses are as we use it in the emergency department. And for those of you that are already using it, if there's some new ideas that you can get from this, then that would be great. I won't cover absolutely everything, but there's a lot of stuff that we do with ultrasound. It's really a growing list. Here's a list that you can look at. I'm not going to cover OB. I'm not going to cover gallbladder or kidney. But there are a lot of things that we do that are just fantastic in terms of helping the patient. So let's start with the eye. We'll start at the top and work our way down. So many of us have seen a patient like this. They come in, they've been hit in the eye, their eye's swollen shut. You can't really get a good exam of the eye. You don't know if the globe's intact. Is there hemorrhage? Is there retinal detachment? Is there a foreign body in there? So we can get a CAT scan and this sort of thing, but there's really...
Oi, estão ouvindo? Oi, estão ouvindo? Estão me escutando? Agora vocês ouvem? Estão ouvindo? Estão ouvindo? Oi, eu estou falando bem alto. Estão me escutando? Alguém pode responder?
Graças a Deus.